Yeah, look, I agree that our young players are certainly standing up. Do we need more from the experienced players? Look, I think whenever you're kind of in a situation like ours, and again, my experience tells me is that you do need the ones who've maybe been through the tougher times to lead you through it. There's no doubt about that. So that's who we're looking at now. We don't have a lot in that bracket, to be fair, and if you look at the other night especially, but the ones who do, whether that's Sonny or I guess Matters or obviously Ben's back now and Dom to a certain extent, although it's his first year at a club. Um, maybe a Bissouma, but we don't have a great deal of experience to lean on in these times. But certainly, for us to get through it, it's going to need some leadership. Now, I've always said that leadership can come in all forms, and maybe it'll be that it's the young ones that do get us through. There's no reason why they can't. It's kind of the message I've been sort of giving back to them, that whatever it takes, and whoever kind of stands up in these moments, don't wait for somebody else. If you feel like it's going to be you take that moment.
And you've always seemed very consistent in the way you work, but I just wondered, in the last few weeks where things have been pretty tough, have you had a special meeting with the players? Have the leadership group called a meeting between themselves?
Yeah, nothing by design, but I mean, whenever I've sort of been in these situations, and I've had a fair few of them, like I said, different types, but there's always kind of pressures. There are things that you always try and change up, and we've tried to do things a little bit differently. I have certainly in my messaging over the last few weeks, or in the way we're kind of dealing with certain aspects. Not really, because I mean, I just, but I think you'll find that most managers, or most people in kind of these kind of positions, are always trying to find a way to change the course of events, and we're all kind of probably staying up late at night trying to figure out, well, is there something I can do? But the one thing I do know is that it's not, and again, the experience I have is there's no sort of miracle cure for it. Part of it is just turning up and fighting for what you believe in. Yeah, so that stays consistent. But how you deliver that and how you prepare that can change at times. But you try and get as creative as you possibly can to see whether you can make an impact, and that's certainly that's a mode we've been in for the last sort of month or so, is to how can we get this group through this tough time, and how can we help them in getting there.
Paul.
Which players do you think have stepped up lately and shown some leadership views in the stood out?
Oh, look, like I said, I think all the younger ones have done a brilliant job in coping with what we've thrown at them, whether that's Archie or Lucas, or even somebody like Jed who's been thrown in, or Tony as a keeper. I think Dom Solanke's done an unbelievable job. All these guys have really, I think, embraced the challenge of us being in this tough spot, and not shied away from it. And the reason I mention those is they're all kind of new in terms of the team, and I think that's important because moving forward, when we do get hopefully at some point the significant sort of inclusions we have in the team, then that growth that they've shown, I think, will make us even a stronger team moving forward.
Is that leading by example on the pitch, or those that you've seen, you heard voices?
Both. I think both. In both aspects, I think leading by example, but also their voice as well. As I said, I try and encourage that as much as I can. I think sometimes when you're a younger player or you're a new player, you feel like, is it my place when others are here? But I always think in the best environments that people feel comfortable enough that whether it's speaking up or by actions, that they just do it. They don't worry about whether they've they're the youngest or they've just arrived at the club. They just feel like it's the right thing to do, and I try and encourage that. Like I said, it's not always easy because you feel, okay, I'm new at the club, or I'm young. Do I have the right to say something or by actions? But particularly in the situation we're in right now, we need everyone to sort of step up.
You kind of said before that that kind of experience, that sort of leadership wasn't something you were necessarily looking to bring into the club from outside, given everything in the transfer window. Is that still the case at the moment?
Yeah, in terms of, I don't think it's what we need right now is, some reinforcements in terms of, some able bodies who can help us get through this period. That's much more important than anything else right now because, every game we've got close to double-digit absences, even from Wednesday night for a variety of reasons, and we need to try and get some help for the players to get through that.
Tom. A few weeks ago, Ruben Amorim gave quite a surprisingly or very honest answer when he was asked about the team were in 14th and whether they were actually in a relegation battle. He said yes. You're 14th at the moment. The form has been difficult. How mindful do you need to be of them?
But that's then like me thinking about whether we're going to qualify in Europe. It's irrelevant. I respect Ruben's opinion in this, but it's irrelevant to me. Nothing is more important than us playing well and getting a result at Everton on the weekend. And all these kind of things will play out as they play out. But it's not like, whether I say, listen, we have to win on Sunday so we've got a chance to get in Europe, or we have to win on Sunday because it keeps us out of relegation battle. If that's where the motivation lies, then we've got no chance because we'll be chasing things every week. What our motivation needs to be, to turn out on Wednesday, on Sunday, and play more like the football team we know we can be, and get our 3 points and move on from there to Europe on midweek. That's all you can focus on.
Richarlison came on the other day and had quite a good impact. He's obviously unavailable so often, but during that run that he had, I think his best game was probably Everton away with goals. How do you keep him fit?
Yeah, that's a challenge. But we've tried very different ways, and Richie's trying different ways, and we've been really careful in the way we brought him back this time. He's probably been ready to go for a couple of weeks. We've given him extra work. I thought he was really good when he came on the other night. You can see his quality, and he's one of these guys that does lead by example, particularly when he plays. So great to have him back. But we just got to, again, it's about, I think with Richie, it's about him gaining confidence in his body as well, and we can do that over the next few weeks. He'll certainly play a part in the Everton game, and hopefully get him some more minutes than the other night, and slowly build him up. Because if we can keep him fit, I've got no doubt he'll be a really important player for us. I've got no doubt about that. Because I know you mentioned the Everton game, but when he played last year, that run of games, he was really good for us, and I think he's a really good fit for the way we play in a couple of positions, centrally or way out wide. And if we can keep him fit between now and the end of the season, I'm sure he's going to make an impact.
You mentioned Everton because that was your first game friendly against him, not
Yep.
Stanley. Him being now the oldest manager back. I just wonder this season, with everything you've had to face, do you feel like it's aged you?
Makes me that. No, I understand kind of how externally it may look and feel for somebody like me, but part of what I love about what I do is the fact that there's this constant search for solutions and constant search for how to overcome challenges. I enjoy that bit. So it's not like, because I always reflect on the alternative is me not being involved, and okay, maybe I'm look a bit younger and a bit more handsome, but I'd be pretty bored. If I was sitting at home, I'd be saying, I wish I was there, and I'll probably, knowing me, I'd be saying, I wish I was at Tottenham right now. I'd love to be in the middle of that to see how we can get out of that situation. So, like I said, I understand from externally you're probably going, God, he must be living a nightmare at the moment, but it's not my existence. It's a big challenge. I get it. I said before, the responsibility weighs heavily on me. I feel it. I feel the pain of it. I feel the disappointment of it. but I'm a fighter, and this is where I want to be, and I want to find a way to get us out of this, so that we can reap the rewards of the tough battles we've had, and because of that context, it doesn't affect me maybe in the way that people may assume.
Do we forget, Ange, what older managers bring to us? I don't know if that's the best way to phrase it. But
Thanks, mate. Coming off the back of Tom is wonderful.
Does it ever feel like a young man's game, and not just sort of because there are a lot of young coaches, because there's always a impatience for the next best thing, the next sort of
Yeah.
coach to come.
Yeah, it depends. Like, depends on sort of the way you approach it. I think I'm better equipped to handle this now at my age than I would have been if I was younger. So I see, what others may see as a kind of, I think before I got this role, it was made about my age, that I think because of my age and my experience, and certainly I feel like I have the energy still, definitely, to do the task. It's not like I'm, like I said, weighed down by it. I think it helps me in these kind of situations, and I think younger managers. I think that is the challenge, because there is such a short-term outlook on most things in life, and particularly in football these days. That how do you withstand all these kind of assertions on how you're supposed to be doing your job, which is a constant now. It's never, you're never given any breather room to say, okay, well, let's just see how this pans out. It's kind of, no, look, it's obviously not working, so there's got to be change. But again, it comes down to, I guess, the individual thing, and it comes down to your upbringing. So I reckon maybe David's in a similar mould as me, is that probably our upbringing was that, if you're going through tough times, just roll your sleeves up and work hard. There's a pretty basic sort of premise there that's still quite effective. I think younger people today and younger managers they work a bit differently. They work a bit smarter. Maybe they find ways of avoiding some of the issues that probably older managers just tackle head on.
Can I also ask, the Werner injury, has it complicated what you're doing in January, and whether it
it hasn't helped, because again, it means one less body again. So we've got Mikey and Richie back, which is great. We're kind of in a situation where we're thinking, okay, we can now start thinking about, and it's not just about rotating, but it's just about impacts we can have even during games with substitutions. We're just really limited. I said bringing Richie on the other night was great, but now, like I said, we've lost Timo, so we're still down a number. So it doesn't add more urgency to what we were going to do, but it's not helpful.
But not in terms of signing a striker?
No, it's still in terms of, sorry.
I meant if he was, because he was alone, whether he was someone you were able to get out and get someone in.
No, that was never that was never part of the equation. No, it was never part of the equation to get Timo out. It wasn't like that was never like I need to bring players in, not get players out. So that was never part of it.
Paul. Just going back to the experience question again, David, he's a manager who has a system of play, come under criticism for it, hasn't changed that approach, has had success. Do you think experience lends coaches towards kind of identifying on an ideology or a way of playing the game?
No, not necessarily. I think, look, I'd be very surprised if there are any managers who don't have a real clear sort of idea of how they want their teams to play. There might be some flexibility in there, but most of them. But people tend to focus on the extremes of it, so that obviously with David, he's got a whole body of work that people kind of can look at and say, okay, this is what he's done, and he hasn't changed his approach when it's been quite effective. He's done a great job, and along the way, people kind of probably said, that he should change, but he's survived for so long and thrived for so long because he believes in something, and I think you do need to. For every manager, whether you're young, there's something you've got to cling on to when the inevitable tough times come, and they come for everybody. There is not one person, one manager who won't go through tough times, who won't lose his job at some point. That happens to everyone. You've got to have something to cling on. What do you believe in? If you don't, and if you're just changing along the way all the time because of pressures, then eventually what happens is you disappear. The ones who have never had anything to cling on may have a small presence in the game, but then they quickly disappear if they've tried to chase something that they don't believe in.
Okay, thank you.